Hello and welcome to this presentation on the Graduate Certificate in Instruction and Teaching for Librarians and Information Professionals at the School of Information at the U of A. The Graduate Certificate in Instruction and Teaching is a 12-unit, 3-course certificate program for librarians and other information professionals. The 3 courses are Information Literacy and Pedagogy, E-Learning for Librarians and Other Information Professionals, and Learning Design for Librarians and Other Information Professionals. There's also a capstone or internship requirement that must focus on teaching. As we go through the presentation today, we'll talk more in depth and give more details on these courses. The certificate helps students build the knowledge and skills needed to create and deliver successful and innovative, culturally competent information literacy instruction. The certificate provides the foundation for library professionals to become effective teachers and instructional designers. Course topics include information literacy pedagogy, instructional design principles, online learning and assessment, and it also includes a capstone and internship project where students receive hands-on practice in information library instruction. Students also examine teaching and learning from different cultural perspectives and how culture and language play a role in how students learn in different environments. There are 5 major learning outcomes associated with this certificate. Those are to organize and manage different components of pedagogy, in order for students to develop their own instructional identity and path for lifelong learning. Also to implement instructional design models into their own teaching in order to link best practices with appropriate teaching scenarios. Students will also work to develop quality and effective interactive online learning objects. They will also design, deliver, and evaluate information literacy lessons for diverse learners that incorporate the latest educational theories, standards, and educational technologies. And finally, students will also evaluate their teaching philosophy, situated in diverse, learner-centered needs through a critical lens in order to develop inclusive learning objects. Before we created the certificate, we needed to answer the question of whether or not there was a need for this type of certificate program. We knew that information literacy instruction continues to be a cornerstone of the library profession, but we wanted to find out how many job ads actually mentioned the words library instruction or information literacy or something related to teaching. And we looked at the ALA job list, and we also looked at local ads in Arizona. And in July 2017, we took a snapshot of those job ads, and we found that depending on what area we were looking at, whether we were looking at the ALA job list or another resource, we found that between 44 and 57% of the job ads included the term instruction as part of their job. Around 25 mentioned the term information literacy as part of the job, and another 37% of the ads included the term teaching in the ad. In order to help us answer the question of whether there is a need, we also looked at MA programs and whether or not they had a similar certificate. While there are jobs, our analysis of the curriculum of the 53 MA programs in librarianship in the U.S. demonstrated that only 3, the University of Missouri, San Jose State, and the University of North Carolina, have a certificate, a specialization, or a pathway with a concentration in pedagogy and instructional design courses. I teach the E-Learning for Librarians and Other Information Professionals course. And this course gives students the practical skills needed to develop high-quality, online multimedia learning objects. In this course, students explore the latest multimedia technologies, including content authoring tools, rapid e-learning tools, video, and graphic tools. Course topics include learning theories, graphic design principles, interactivity, gaming, and engagement. Additionally, students look at usability, accessibility, and universal design, and they also look at assessments in different library contexts. Learning theories and background information guide students through the process of developing practical assessment models to evaluate online multimedia learning objects that can be used in a variety of libraries. Within the context of the new IL framework, students complete a full-length tutorial as their final project. They choose the audience, the learning outcomes, and the tools they want to use, and they also choose the instructional design model that they want to use to develop their tutorials. In the past, students have used tools including Storyline, Camtasia, Powtown, Captivate, and Got on the Side to create tutorials. Students also review and evaluate at least 3 different e-learning tools, and they also review and evaluate lots of other tutorials.
Hello, I'm going to be speaking about the first or foundation course in the certificate, which is LIS 581 Information Literacy Pedagogy. Briefly, a bit about me, since you're essentially getting a disembodied voice for this presentation. I'm Nicole Pagowski, and I'm an associate librarian and instruction coordinator at the University of Arizona Libraries. I designed and teach LIS 581, and I have a second master's in instructional design and educational technology. I also co-edited the ACRL Critical Library Instruction Handbooks, which won the Eileen F. Rockman Publication of the Year Award in 2017. And I also taught an instructional design course for ALA a few years back. So let's first talk about the course itself. I screen capped the enrollment screen for this course when it opened for the semester in 2017. It's hard to see the description, so I'm actually going to read it since it is exactly what I would tell you that the course is. It says, librarians and information professionals require expertise in teaching as our constituents learn to navigate the ever-expanding information landscape to use, create, and critique knowledge. This seminar-style course provides students with a foundation for pedagogy of information literacy instruction in libraries and similar settings. Understanding the identity and evolution of teaching librarians, associated learning theories, instructional praxis, and the current state of professional conversations about teaching and learning, students in this course will begin to situate themselves as library educators. So the course is a way to begin creating structure for students to understand the scope of instruction and how it relates to the field, and to help them find their place within that. Students are encouraged to follow along with ongoing professional conversations, and also to keep up with discussions surrounding pedagogical practice and theory, as well as implementing such things, like the ACRL framework for those who are interested in academic libraries. But this course is open to all future librarians interested in instruction, as is the entire certificate. What kind of instruction course would this be if I didn't provide learning outcomes, right? So the course outcomes include interpret and organize different components of pedagogy in order to develop your own instructional identity and path for lifelong learning. Engage in and critique ongoing professional conversations surrounding information literacy instruction in order to position yourself as a library educator. Evaluate your own teaching philosophy in order to align with evidence-based, learner-centered approaches. Examine pedagogy through a critical lens in order to develop inclusive learning environments and objects. And appreciate the value of both theory and practice in pedagogical approaches, engaging in praxis. Carla and Yvonne, along with help from student workers, had done a good amount of research on the need for an instruction certificate for librarians and information workers. And they found that a very large amount of job postings listed instruction as either a required or preferred expertise, and that most LIS programs only offer one, if any, instruction course. And it's almost always an elective. So prospective librarians aren't aware how essential instruction is to library work a lot of the time, and library programs are then not offering these courses to keep up. So this course specifically is needed to catch students up on why and how librarians teach, and also to help them understand the importance of instruction. Often teaching is assumed to be simple because everyone went to school and had teachers, and so we think we know how teaching works and that it seems easy. I mean, teachers get summers off, right? But as most of you in this room probably already know, since you have an interest in this topic or you're doing teaching yourself already, that teaching is hard and it requires a background in pedagogical practice and theory. There are a lot of components that come into play to make a great teacher, and this course helps students and to be able to start situating themselves within that. So in my course, students create a teaching philosophy and also an instruction toolkit to help guide them through the other courses in the certificate, as well as their internship, and of course, beyond that, within professional positions. Although online, a seminar style format fits well with this course for a few reasons. One, we do a lot of reading, and we need to discuss that. But beyond that, so students take on the role of teacher when it is their turn to facilitate weekly discussions. Then when doing this, they are teaching each other. And when we are able to teach something to others, we learn it better ourselves. This also builds community and gets students more comfortable participating in conversations in the field. And there is a lot of nuance in discussing teaching theory and practice. So a discussion-based format is a more holistic way to provide a good amount of room for reflection. And reflection is a major component of this course in ongoing work and also assessment. Within each course and then within the certificate as a whole, we use scaffolding in our design. As I mentioned, this course helps to situate students in this work. And once they examine theory and try putting it into practice through conversation and assignments in a more formative way, they can then actively use what they have learned and reflected on to apply it in the other two courses that Angela and Yvonne teach, and also apply their learning to their internship. So each course builds on the others. This goes for specific areas, such as the example I used before of learning about the ACRL framework. It is learned and discussed in my course, and then in Yvonne's course, students use it in their design of a learning object. So that's an overview of why this course exists and the approach I took to design it. It's my goal to have students finishing the semester feeling like they are poised to be educators in library-esque settings. It's impossible to know everything about teaching. Even those of us who have been doing it for a long time and feel pretty confident are still constantly learning. Ideally, LIS 581 students feel comfortable participating in professional conversations after this course and are able to adapt to changing discussion and social issues.
Hi, my name is Angela Gunder, and I am the Director of Instructional Design and Curriculum Development for the Office of Digital Learning at the University of Arizona. I'm super pleased to join you, albeit virtually, to talk about LIS 586, Learning Design for Librarians and Other Information Professionals. A little bit about myself. In my current role, I primarily mentor and support the team that builds out the fully online programs for the University of Arizona. I've been working within the online learning space for over a decade with a focus on open pedagogy and the intersection between emerging technology and digital literacy. In all of my work, whether it's building online courses, designing exploratory makerspaces, or writing about how to establish students as epic heroes within courses, all of my work focuses on learner-centered design. My team supports the planning, design, and development of over 800 online courses, including this certificate program that we're talking about today, as well as undergraduate and graduate programs in library and information science. In all of our design work, we begin with a human-centered approach, and learning design at its best should make students the drivers of their education. In the classes that I teach, I show individuals how to do this in a way that is interactive, engaging, and aligned to learning outcomes. Nicole and Yvonne graciously gave you an introduction to the program, as well as an intro to LIS 581 and 583. So I will round things out by telling you about LIS 586, Learning Design for Librarians and Other Information Professionals. This course at its heart is about the effective practices and methodologies, both old and new, that drive the creation of instructional content. When we look at the elements that define excellence in learning design, We primarily see the act of engaging learners in hands-on, experiential instruction that is collegial, builds community, and is aligned to real-world tasks. This course both teaches and models this approach and focuses a lens on the learning design theories and models used today to create this type of instruction. LIS 586 shows you how you might apply these methods in a wide variety of contexts to build various types of content in different environments for diverse groups of learners. One of the most notable elements of LIS 586 is that we teach you how to take the guesswork out of ensuring that learners are meeting desired objectives and outcomes. You will learn how to build a unit of instruction from start to finish, to include the integration of interactivity and emerging technology, as well as the application of nationally recognized tools for measuring the quality of the course design elements. Throughout the course, we will emphasize how using a holistic approach to design allows us to incorporate methods, tools, and assessments to measure learning. We believe in learning by doing, so rather than simply studying theory, you'll engage in practice throughout the course in the creation of a module of your choosing. This course is ideally for those interested in learning more about the fundamentals of course design, and will guide you through the course content with a project-based learning focus. At the conclusion of LIS 586, you will leave with a deeper understanding of how to organize, design, develop, and assess content in a way that engages learners and helps them better meet articulated learning outcomes. I invite you to explore the Graduate Certificate website for more information about all of the courses that we've talked about today, and feel free to email me if you have any individual questions about LIS 586. Thank you so much.